Hello everyone, and welcome to what's going to be kind of a first part of a series, and there are going to be some reviews and some tips and how-tos. And this is a new project I'm starting. It's going to be something like build it solar but cheap, so going very cheap. And today I'm going to start with the panel. The panel, you see it here, it's a 100 watt panel, and it's also flexible, so you can fix it on more things that beside the roof. You can put it on the roof of your RV, on other type of transportation device, and so on. So this will take a bit of the shape of what you are going to fix it on. So the panel itself is about $100. It's flexible and it's basic. It has the diode box here. It comes with matching type connectors for the already installed cables. It came packed somehow decent, but not great. Beside the protection foil that is over the panel here, it has this kind of corners that should protect the panel, but guess what, because it was trashed really bad in the delivery truck, because I've seen it there, this kind of failed. The panel also is covered with one layer of thin foam, and also comes in a card box that's not very resistant, rather normal standard card box. So that's the packaging for the panel, and with all of that thin layering of packaging, it still remained in one piece and it's working. In case you are wondering about the size, it has 1 meter and 2 centimeters in length and 67 centimeters in width. And now we are going to continue with the solar charge controller, and this is one of the cheapest controllers I could find. This is about $15, not 50, 15. And what is nice about it, and why I've bought this, is the fact that it can charge 3 types of batteries, and that is the old lead acid batteries, the lithium ion batteries, and also lithium phosphate batteries. So you can charge all of that, and beside that I'm going to show you that this can do something even smarter than selecting 3 types of batteries, but we'll get onto that a bit later. So now we need to start to do the initial installation, and for that I'm going to need a battery. So today I'm going to use a lead acid battery. It's not very smart to put it here on the panel, but I'm going to do it anyway. And 2 cables. And now we are going to do the connection. So first we need to start with connecting the battery to the controller. That's the rule. And you get these connectors here, and it's pretty straightforward. You have the panel connector, the battery connector, and the load connector, with mentioning that the load connector is only for very light loads such as bulb and nothing more. If you are going to run a lot more power, such as running inverters or other higher consumer products which draw a lot more amps, then you are not going to tie here. You are going to connect those loads directly to the battery terminals. Otherwise you are going to end up frying the controller. Right, so let's install the connectors for the battery. And that's very simple. You just need to untighten this clamp here and this one here. Take note of the polarity. So plus here I'm going to use red wire to make it easier to see. And now I'm going to tighten up this screw. Of course, if you are going to do a permanent solution, I advise you to get some nice connectors that are going to fit over the wires here, and you crimp them and they are going to make a lot more better contact. When you are building solar, it's very important to have the best efficiency, and that means to have thick wires, short wires, good connectors, because thin wires have bigger resistance, bad connectors have bigger resistance, and all of that ends up actually lowering your efficiency a lot and losing power and making things heat up and not functioning properly. Alright, so the battery connector is now installed, and I'm going to connect the battery. I'm going to connect the negative and now the positive, and there you go. The controller lights up and shows the battery voltage. The controller is pretty simple. You have a menu button, a plus and a minus button, and also this one acts as turning on or off the load. So if you have that bulb here, you can enable or disable it. This doesn't stop the charging circuit, so it doesn't stop the controller supplying power to the battery when it's connecting to the solar panel. Alright, and this is the menu button, and here you have several things, and here comes the part that I was telling you that this is very smart for what you pay. This is the voltage, the float voltage of the battery, and this is the power off voltage of the battery. So this should stop discharging the battery when you are using this one, but it will not stop discharging the battery if you tie an inverter directly to the battery. And this one, the float voltage, is very interesting because if I go to the settings for that one and I hold the menu button, I can actually fine tune the voltage that I want to float the batteries. And now it's in lead acid mode, but I can go in the menu at this setting, and this is the battery type, and I can change it, and now I can select lithium ion or lithium phosphate batteries. And if I go to lithium ion, you are going to see that the voltage has changed on the display. It's 12.6 because that's the battery voltage, but now it shows that it will float at a higher voltage, so I have mixed that up a bit. Let's check here. So it says lead acid, it's first, second is lithium ion, and third it's lithium iron phosphate. So let's check that again. So I'm on phosphate setting, so that's the problem, and I'm going to change it to lithium ion. And let's go back to here, and you can see here now I have another float voltage, and now the correct battery is selected. But I can always go to the float voltage setting and I can select it, and then I can increase or decrease the limit that I want to float my lithium ion batteries, so I can prolong their lifetime. And that's really smart because on lithium ion maybe you want to run them at a lower voltage, and that improves their lifespan a lot. Alright, so I've switched back to lead acid because that's my battery here, and this battery also comes with an indication, so you have cycle use and floating use, and it says that floating use is about 13.5 to 13.8 volts, and the controller is now set at a float voltage of 13.7, so it's kind of perfect. I can put it at 13.8 if I want to. On lead acid it's actually better to have it a bit higher. And now we are going to connect the solar panel, and also you need to take care of the polarity here. On the solar panel you have the connectors indicated with a plus and minus on them, so it's easy not to mess them up. And I have connected now the positive part of the panel, and I'm going to connect the negative part now, and you can see already the controller has detected the panel. And even though this is filmed indoor with just my video light and the ceiling light, the panel produces enough current right now that it charges the battery. Let me fix this back on because it's not fixed properly. That's why you should use some crimping adapters. And now this controller is charging up the battery and says that my battery has 12.6 volts. And let's see how accurate the display is. So I'm going to use my trusty multimeter here, and I'm going to connect the negative and now the positive. and we have 12.85 volts actually, and this one shows 12.6, so not very accurate, but once again it should go up to 13.8 volts, and until there plenty of room to close up the difference. Let's also check the current, so I'm going to disconnect the battery. The controller will die out, and I'm going to go here, I'm going to change the cable, I'm going to go to 10 amps. Not that it will produce 10 amps in this lighting condition, especially indoor. And now I'm going to connect the tester, and I'm going to connect to the battery, and I'm doing just 0 point something amps because it's very dark indoor. But on outdoor I should have another type of values here, and I'm going to do that, of course. But for now this has to do because it was about the charge controller. The controller also comes with 2 USB ports, and I'm going to do another test. Now I'm going to connect the probe to the battery with the amp meter running, and now I can see the charge current, which is of course pretty low, and I'm going to use this USB lamp that's going to draw a bit of power from the controller, and look at that. It's not actually generating more current, it's actually drawing power from the battery because the panel is not able to supply enough power. So this will discharge the battery but charge your phone or whatever you have connected to that USB. And it's not controlled by this button here. This one only turns on or off the 12 volt battery volt output here on this side. So be sure to follow my next videos where I'm going to upgrade the system. I'm going to have more of these batteries. It's not lithium ion, I know, it's LiPo, but I'm planning something that will use a lot of power for short bursts of time, because this one will also get reviewed very soon. It's a inverter with sine wave and 2.2 kilowatt of total power, so LiPo should do just fine for that kind of project. So be sure to subscribe and check the other videos that I'm going to upload. Until then, see you and bye bye.